doing these free classes over the summer to kind of give people a better idea of what we're all about and what we're teaching and learning and talking about here at Stall High. So I'm going to be talking about baby horses, our colts, futurity colts, new horses that you're just starting riding that just got broke. And that's something I've found to be a passion of mine. And I'm so excited to help share the knowledge I'm learning with all y'all and grow together as a team. So just a little bit about me. I found Stall High when I was really struggling with some confidence. I was riding a finished horse, kind of clinging onto the saddle horn for dear life. It was a whole mess. Came into Stall High, did the 21-day course, got my confidence improved, and was able to get back to a spot where I could try riding a colt again. And so I bought my filly Monroe, and we're going to see a little video of her in a bit. And our progress and growth as a team has just been so much fun and absolutely amazing. I love her to death. And honestly, I wouldn't have been able to make the progress I have with her if it wasn't for Kendra and all of our stride coaches and the team here at Stall High. So today, I talk fast, sorry. What I want to talk about is our hands. So it is so important with these young horses that we have patient hands and we're not all over their faces. I was making really good progress with Monroe. And then, we had a 1D run and I was so proud. And little Miss Brooke got a little hi-ho trainer, as Kendra said, when I saw her in Texas. And she's like, girl, your hands. I was like, what do you mean my hands? I've always been told I have quiet hands. Like my hands are almost too quiet. And I let that run and our progress and the success we were having get to my head. And I started expecting her to be a fully mature horse where it's like, no, I have to stop. You better stop right now. Back up. You're not backing up fast enough. And I was yanking on her face. And Monroe's a saint. She was pissed at me. She was shaking her head a lot, kind of wanted to rear, like pissed at me. She was yelling at me, stop. I didn't see that. I thought she was just being a typical baby horse until I went to Texas and I met with Kendra and she's like, this horse isn't mean. She's mad at you, but she ain't mean. And so it really opened my eyes to what's going on with my hands and everything problems I was creating. So I have I'll share my screen, a video here to kind of show what I'm talking about. Broadcast. So this is Monroe and I, and play in full speed. You're going to see me kind of pulling on her, and her reactions weren't as bad because her mouth's not as sore because I've been softer lately. But just watch the change in her body when I'm pulling on her, trying to keep her head down, forcing that collection. She is not happy. She's irritated. And honestly, if she could, she probably would want me off her back. And this is minimal compared to what I was dealing with a month and a half ago. She is a very patient horse. She wasn't happy with us doing this. But I think it's so important that we see what happens when we're on their faces and we're trying to force the collection and you're just constantly bugging them. It makes them mad. All over her body language says, I'm pissed. So then we go to me relaxing my hands. So even when she's sitting here and she's trying to be a baby and throwing her head, I'm just ignoring it. And it's so important that we do that because we got to pick our battles, especially with these young ones. If I were to sit here and nitpick her and say, no, you're going to walk without moving your head, the agitation, between her and I would just continue to grow and grow and grow. And we just keep butting heads. So here you can see I'm waiting for her to back up. I'm not yanking on her mouth. I'm being patient. I'm letting her be a baby because she is still a baby. yes, she's gone and she's ran and she's done amazing, but she's still a baby. And so being accountable for myself on not putting these finished horse expectations on her in our just everyday riding has been a huge game changer for us. You can even see at the trot when I have my hands high, I'm relaxed, I'm letting her stretch her head out. She gets naturally collected and she's just overall a much happier horse and our rides go a lot smoother. Um, so stop sharing. That was a little sneak peek at what our horses are doing and how agitated they can get when we're on their faces. I think it's super important with these young ones that we don't pull on their faces and we let them have those moments to grow. And it does wonders for their brains. If you had someone constantly sitting here saying, on your shoulder, saying, hey, you're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. You need to do this. Why is your hand right here? Why is your head right here? Like, move, move, move. It's like a little parrot, right? And that would drive you crazy. That would drive me crazy. It's like my kids bugging me over and over again. And it's not something we want to put onto these baby horses. It is, I can't stress enough how important their mental health and keeping them mentally sound is to have a successful barrel career and futurity year. Um, I wanted to also kind of take this into the barrel pattern. So a lot of the times when we're running barrels, and I've been very guilty of this, it's something that I've worked really hard to improve on, and we're finally making some progress, is not pulling on their young horses when they go to take a step off the barrel or anything like that. We want to make running barrels super enjoyable for these young ones, make them crave it. And so when you go to make your run, not pulling on their face and letting them just work, even if they go to take a step off, that is okay. Where we're going to fix that is in our slow work. And that is so beautiful about our Stall High program and what Kendra is teaching us and her barrel blueprint, her blueprints to the barrel pattern, as we're able to work and pattern these young ones without constantly ramming on them. It makes the process so much more smoother, enjoyable, and you're going to have less headbutting. I would also just like to say, like, it's, I know it's a hard habit to break, but the benefits outweigh the risk and the repetition of having to keep pulling on them. It's going to make them hot in the gate because they know the pain is coming. Right, Ashley?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's like it's that memory, right? When we do something that just makes them mad, like you talked about the toddlers, right? Or like we know that every time we go pee, their little hands are gonna be under the door. So we anticipate it, right? Like, oh, I better pee quick, because right, weird analogy, but that's welcome to Ashley. But yeah, they anticipate the pain, right? They start collecting tallies, right? Every time you jerk on their face, every time you get too handsy, they start taking notes and taking tallies. They're smart. They remember. So a lot of times we blame it on the horse. Well, this stupid sucker, he can't turn the first barrel. This sucker acting ignorant at the gate, or he's just hot. Well, a lot of times they're trying to tell you something. It's just if you'll listen. And Brooke's just done such a good job with Monroe with that, has so much patience. Because I wouldn't have known, right? Like I told Brooke when I was
Yes.
in Monroe with Kendra, I'm like, shoot, Brooke, I wouldn't have known. I'd been like, knock your crap off. And like, because so Monroe was being very mouthy and fidgety and feeling herself. Just, she wasn't
Oh,
acting
yeah.
like bucking or anything like that. Just very, she just feeling herself being a kid.
She
And
was very
yeah.
agitated with me and my hands because if like we're saying those toddlers, I'm sitting there and I'm micromanaging her. I need to let her work. I need to let her be her. And obviously there's a fine line that we do not cross. We do not tolerate bad behavior, dangerous behavior. Let me phrase that. Because sometimes that bad behavior is just your horse saying, I can't take you anymore. You're on my face. Like, what do you want from me? And they get confused. And so that confusion gets mistaken for bad behavior. And so being very conscious of what our horses are telling us and what we are doing. Something that's made a big difference in my rides is videotaping my rides. So then I can actually see, like, oh, well, she did this, but look what I did to cause that. Because it's different watching it than feeling it in the moment. And getting these babies to a place where we can trust them is vital to the whole patterning process and everything, because that trust is what's going to make the barrel pattern smooth. That's what's going to make it to where you can go out there, new facility, no time onlys, and do a run on your baby because they know their job. They see that barrel. It's the coolest feeling ever, y'all. They lock on and they're just like, I don't care about nothing else. It's like, I know what this means, and it's enjoyable because we haven't hammered it into them. We're not doing 50 circles around a barrel every single day of the week. We're taking it slow to their speed, but we're also being very conscientious of their mind. And whatever we do at that walk, that's what we're going to do in a run. And so that is why it is so important that we don't just keep cruising and cruising and cruising these babies through. Do it at a walk. Focus on your body. Where are you tense? What is your body telling your horse? Because it will be amplified at that run. So let's say I have a I have a habit, y'all, of tensing my thighs. And Coach Ashley called me up on it. And so I've started paying attention to my slow work. And I'm like, why am I gripping so hard with my thighs in my runs? Like, what is going on? I'm like, I swear I'm relaxed. I do not grip at all in my slow work. Well, I was paying attention the other day. I was like, hey, I may not be gripping, but that muscle's activated. That muscle's a little tight. And so it becomes amplified when I get my adrenaline going in the anticipation of a run. And that just gets Monroe ticking. She's like, wait, you're nervous. I should be nervous. Where's the boogeyman? And so being super conscientious of not only our hands, but all of our body language with these babies. Kendra always says being clear is kind. And I can't back that up enough. It is very important that we are clear because that is what's going to set these babies up for so much success.
Hey, Brooke, can you tell people when you said, in your slow work, right? Because a lot of people aren't going to know, what the difference between how Brooke and us at Stall High do slow work versus what a lot of others may be doing in their slow work with these babies. If you can kind of talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. That is like one of my favorite things. I've tried the whole, we're going to circle this barrel 3 times big, and then you're going to come in small. And, you're loping and you're loping and you're trotting and you're trotting. You're trying to get that perfect circle. And dude, that wears me out. It wears my horses out. Like their minds are blown. They don't care. So when you're saying like, my slow work is I'm doing this, I'm trying to get perfect circle, and she's going to stay in the circle until she gets that circle right. Like at that point, your horse doesn't even know what they did right to make you leave the barrel. They're so just like trying everything and tired and mentally just worn out. And so by the time you leave, it's just like, well, I don't know what I did, but at least we're done with that barrel. And so what we're doing here at Stall High is Kendra has laid out her barrel blueprint for patterning horses and even helping finish horses that have some question marks on the pattern. And we do it all at a walk. So you're going to go up to your barrel, you have your rate spot. And every single step that horse takes around the barrel, we are very meticulous about. If they don't get it right, we're going to reset. We don't just keep spinning and spinning. You're going to stop, reset, turn your horse around, reapproach, and do it again. And that approach keeps them so sane and sound in their mind, and it becomes a happy place. That barrel, they love that barrel. It's not a dread. It's not a, oh, here we go again. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. I'll sit here at my rate spot, just chilling. How you doing, Brooke? I'm doing great. Let's go. And it's just so much fun and easier. And like I said, like me, dude, I don't work out. I cannot be doing 5 circles around every single barrel 5 times a day. It don't work. And like I said, it don't work for me. It definitely doesn't work for my horse. And so taking this approach has just made it so easy and effortless to where Monroe really does crave running barrels. We get to a race and that I can't, oh, I love the feeling when she sees that barrel, she locks on, she's like, it's go time. And it's become so easy that I can trust her. I know she's going to turn. I don't worry about her running off. And anytime we do make an off step, that's okay. I'm going to come back home. I'm going to walk that pattern and we'll fix it in usually one session. Like, I'm not cranking the pattern every day of the week. Heck, I probably do the pattern on my 4-year-old filly once a month, if that. And she's doing great. So the proof is in the pudding, as Kendra says. I love that saying.
Yeah, and how many can you tell people, like, because right, a lot of people have a misconception. Well, I got to have X amount of many exhibitions, and how much have you done on Monroe, right? Like, how many exhibitions? How many times did you enter her? And by the way, she's already made a 1D run on this 4-year-old filly. It was smoking.
Yeah, that was our 10th run.
Okay, yeah. So tell people, right, like because of Kendra's technique, the barrel pattern, the lead stride coaches, and everything you and Monroe have done to train together, how much did you have to do exhibitions and entering before that run?
That is the beauty of it. I only went to I think 5 races before November of last year to do exhibitions. Max I did at each one was 3. So that was it. That is all the exposure she got doing exhibitions at a barrel race. And we entered in November and, we had I had some stuff I had to work through to get our confidence there because I was like, oh, I haven't ran in a long time. Nerves. But she locked on. She was like, I don't know why you nervous. I got this. And by our 10th run, we had our first 1D run. Like 2 or 3 runs before that, we were in the 2D. And, then I got hi-ho trainer, got on her face. We had some hiccups. But she just blew me away this past weekend at MBHA because she showed me she has the speed. And it scared me for a second. And so like we have another hiccup, but I know it's there. She's just waiting on me. And I didn't do a lot to get her to that point. It was literally a lot of just walking the pattern a couple times a week until she was solid. And now I don't hardly ever do pattern. I think even before I went to enter her, I came out to Texas and Kendra's like, yeah, she don't really need it much. Maybe once every 2 weeks. That was it. And we've just lowered that amount of time since then. And it's really has been a beautiful process that's made it easy and made me feel like, hey, even though I didn't grow up riding and running, I can still do this. I can still pattern colts. And it makes me super excited for my next one. Um, but yeah, do we have any questions?
I see a Corey Fisk with his hand up. Corey, go ahead and unmute. And turn your mic up. We want to see your face, Corey. Don't hide from us. What's your question? I did have my camera off, but we can't hardly hear you, Corey. You got to speak up. Oh, we lost her. We lost her.
I did see one question in the comments from Alpha Harper. When we're talking about her not moving her head at the walk. So we want them to be able to oscillate, like you're saying, at the walk. So letting them have that natural movement, we want that. What we don't want is like, well, actually, I backtrack. Sorry. We want them to do that. Like I love thinking of as an old trail horse when you're going down the trail and they have that little bob to their head. We want that. And then when like Monroe, what she was doing in that video is she was kind of trying to be a baby, throw a fit about the bit. Even though she works in it every day, it's the same setting. Sometimes she just has that baby moment and she's like, oh, I'm going to shake my head. I'm going to be mouthy. And if I just ignore that, let her get it out of her system, a couple minutes, then she goes off fine. But if I were to sit there and be like, stop doing that, you're annoying me, then we start butting heads. And so, yes, we want that movement and learning to be okay with something like I'm going to be mouthy, I'm going to kind of roll and throw my head, but I'm still going where you want is okay as long as it doesn't become dangerous. It's when it gets dangerous that we shut that crap down right away. You say, no, ma'am, I'm not getting hurt today. I think I see that Corey's back.
Yep.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I had my earbuds in and they don't work very good. So, hey, thank you. I just wanted to ask what the stall high thinking is on soaking young horse. So sometimes their hands can be really inconsistent, or they're just trying the bit out and mouthing it and trying to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any legitimacy in allowing them to soak on that for themselves without our hands in the way, or what is your opinion on that?
Absolutely. So, no, this is literally what I went through with Monroe, right? I was sitting there and she had started, we'd had that 1D run. I got handsy, expecting her to backstop ASAP. And her mouth got sore. So she was really playing with that bit. And the more I picked at her, the worse it got. And went to Texas and I got called up. Don't pick your battles. If they're doing that, let them do it. And I took that approach home with me. And the time she spends kind of like wallowing, mouthing the bit, it's gotten less and less every single ride. And the only reason that she didn't even do it yesterday when I first got on until I did my little handsy demo, and then she was pissed at me after that. So she did a little bit after that. But before then, that she walked off without even doing it. And that was something I was really struggling with at the beginning of May. And so I think it's great. And letting them meet your hands, I think is really good to talk about too. So we have where we want our hands to go. We don't want them really low because then we're on the bars of their mouth. That annoys them. We don't want to be putting that extra pressure on their mouth. So leaving our hands, I always like to think between like my armpit and the bottom of my rib cage is where I try to. Sometimes I get a little low. I have to remind myself, pick your hands back up. But I try to leave my hands in one spot. I mean, they'll have some like movement as I'm moving with the horse, but like, let's say I went to stop, instead of going to pull, I'm going to leave my hands right here. And if she wants to not stop, she'll hit that bit. And I didn't do it to her. She did it to herself.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm asking is, do you always have it under the control of your hands, or do you sometimes tie them back to their or tail in a round pin and just let them soak?
No, I let her stretch. I let her do her thing. And, like I said, I'll leave my hands there and let her come back to me. If I were to take this mare and do what you're saying, tie her head around, ooh, she would be pissed and she would be slow to forgive. When I would go to saddle her the next time and get on, her mouth's going to remember that. And we don't want to have them sore in their mouths. We want them to enjoy their job, enjoy even just riding around. Now, if you have a horse that's being dangerous that you have to get after, that's a different story. But most horses aren't trying to be mean and dangerous. It's really just trying to be very clear with our cues. And so, like, let's say, why do you have a horse that you've done this with recently, or like in the past, or what?
I do it with all of my horses. I mean, it's just something, and that's why if it's wrong, I would like to correct it. But I'm trying to understand because it's not a mean thing. You're not tying their nose to their butt or to their tail head. I mean, you're just getting them to where they use their tail to kind of regulate how much they're pulling against the bit or not. And you might leave them in the round pen for half an hour while they work that out before your hands get involved, because your hands can be inconsistent where, tying to their tail, it's the same distance, the same length, they're getting the same message. And I was just wondering how Stall High goes about that part of it so that I can try to implement that into the learning. But I'm only about 3 days into the 7 days, so I haven't really seen any groundwork stuff yet to really understand where you go with that. So
Yeah. Oh, a lot of that groundwork is in our 21 days. I think this is a great question for Ashley or Taylor.
Yeah, so Corey, we do things super different at Stall High. So a lot of the colt breaking old methods that you see, I mean, well, number one, we have James Davidson, who people in Stall High are sending their colts to, and he does the breaking. Um, a lot of that stuff that's real old school, like, and I mean, we can invite James Davidson on here, and Corey will be sure to let you know and ask a lot of these questions. But our goal in Stall High is to get it where they understand what we're trying to communicate. So we have our lead stride coaches, Michael Richardson, Leanna Ray, and Kendra Dixon. Michael talks a lot about getting a horse to understand our communication instead of forcing it. So at Stall High, we don't grab their heads and make them bend and make them bend at the rib cage. We're trying to get them to do all those things naturally without force. So I don't have an exact answer for you. Taylor, have you heard anything about this on breaking colts? But I do want to circle back and you know, it's probably something we invite James Davidson, and we're happy to do so. On the next Brooke with Babies, we can invite James Davidson out or on the call.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but we're really trying to get away from force. Kendra calls it forcemanship. We're forcing them to bend or forcing them to do this thing. A lot of stuff that we do that Michael Richardson teaches in the round pen, it's a lot with energy and movement and light touch, and there's so much to it that's we're keeping that open line of communication where we're not having force. Does that make sense? Does that help? Taylor, do you have anything to add, Taylor, to that?
Well, I will say, oh, there she is.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know in one of our last Get Your Bit Together classes, like James did talk about horses wallowing on the bit, and he did just what I showed on Monroe today in my sample video, is leaving my hands there, let her do her thing, and she'll come back to me. Just ignore it and keep doing your work. Don't be afraid to ask them to start working just because they're doing that. Go, Taylor.
I was gonna say that I think maybe it would be good to have James come on and he can talk about it. With the colt that I'm starting right now, I've been doing a lot of Michael's yield work, which you start that in the 21 days of attunement. And so I'm excited to see how that works with her because she's already she backs up really nice and she moves, you know, when I ask her to bend, you know, come around me and everything. And so that's kind of what we're learning there with regards to this, but I have not put the bit in her mouth yet. So, but yeah, but I have one that I'm starting the Stall Highway. So does that help any, Corey?
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a question from Mindy.
Mindy, if you want to unmute and put your camera on.
Can you see me?
There you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so I was doing stall high stuff a lot beforehand, and I kind of figured it out because I had a finished horse. So now I'm back on a 4-year-old like you are, and I was wondering. I'm an attunement member, so I watched all of the stuff that the coursework and stuff. I've done all that. I've looked at all of this stuff, and I've been watching her work. You know, the backup, go forward, whatever. Yeah. How long did you do that part until you like started doing expos or whatever? Because I just don't know, because she's really intelligent, and I'm afraid she's going to get really bored fast. So I'm trying to. I took her through polls. She's never seen them before in her life, and she did really well. But the other day, just cruising her through them. How long did you work on just doing that spot until you started actually taking her and exhibitioning her and then entering her?
Absolutely. So the way Kendra's program is set up and our program here at Stall High and patterning horses is it's really at the horse's pace. So I can't really give you like a set oh,
Okay.
2 weeks of this, 2 weeks of that. It's going to be at your horse's pace. And you mentioned she's really smart. So when you have a really smart one, you have to be careful not to overdo it.
Okay.
And that's like Monroe, super smart. So that's where if in my slow work, I don't have to do it as often, because if I started overdoing it, then she's going to rate way too early. And that's where I feel like getting into the next level, our 201 class, because in there you're going to see what's called our Prospect to Pro Rodeo series. And that is Kendra taking horses first day on the pattern, Pedro and Prophecy, and she has every single session with them on the pattern recorded in that series. And so I really use that as a basis. So like the next step after, are you just walking to your rate point right now and then stopping, or are you trotting to your rate point?
Trotting.
Okay, so basically how you know to turn up the ante every single time is, let's say you're trotting, when you go to walk around that barrel, if your horse is getting every single step right on the first try consistently, so let's say you have 3 sessions where, hey, or 5 sessions, whatever it is, and they're taking every single step correct and you're not having to reset, that tells you, hey, I can turn up the heat a little more. Let's go like a little bit of a faster trot up into there. And then, you get into your slow lope and then your fast slope and your run. And so you keep turning up the heat as they show you they're ready. And that showing they're ready is, you're not going to be resetting that barrel as many times.
And
Does that help
Okay.
answer it?
yeah, and I
Yeah.
just want to help clarify too, Brooke. You guys, Brooke has the eagle's eyes of the stride coaches helping her through this, right? So she's not just out there wingling ding donging it, right?
No.
Like she's checking in with, right, the experts that she has signed up, with Stall High to get coaching to do this thing right. Monroe is a unicorn, right? We all have our unicorns we're creating. So we are seeking help from our stride coaches. We're coaches, right? But they're our stride coaches.
Yes.
So we're seeking help from our stride coaches, where we're checking in, like Brooke has been checking in, like, hey guys, is it time for me? What do y'all think? Is it time to up the ante, right? Like there's so much more than just guessing, right? Like we have a team that is going in there and really fine tooth combing everything that you're learning as you go along the courses of joining Stall High. So I just had to say that.
No, absolutely. You're right on. I like Taylor put in the comments what Leanne always says, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And that is so true. Like all my progress and success I've had with Monroe is completely due to having the support and the amazing guidance of the stride coaches, Kendra, Michael, and Leanna, and their guidance through this whole process. Like I said, when I went to Texas and Kendra told me, hey, she doesn't need it as much. Like that was huge for me. And that's the beauty of being in the classes, is you're in those Zoom calls, you get reviews, and those reviews with all 3 stride coaches there in class are so beneficial. You get so much more and input from every angle that you really are able to go through it like a fine tooth comb, like you said, Ashley.
Yeah, great job, Brooke.
Awesome. Yeah. Do we have any more questions?
I do have a comment of getting help from all the coaches, and that's what's helped me. I got to run in my first pro rodeo yesterday, and everything went so well, but it would not have gone as well if I didn't have the help of Stall High and the coaches, and being able to send in my runs prior and them having to tweak just every little thing to be able to get where I am today. So
absolutely.
It does pay off.
It does. Time. I love it. I love sending in my slow work videos too, not just my runs, because then they can make sure I'm not missing any steps in my slow work. And that's been a huge, huge help with me too, going through this process with Monroe. Okie doke. If we don't have any more questions.
Awesome, Brooke. And also, guys, Julie right here, she has a baby as well that she's Julie, real quick, in a couple like minute or less, can you kind of give us about your baby, how old, what you're doing, where you're at in Stall High?
So Ace just turned 5 this year, and his name about a year ago was Acehole for a reason, because you guys, he was an asshole. Like he was hard to be around. He was just difficult about everything. Nothing was easy with him. So I pretty much stayed off of him. I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't know how to communicate with this horse. And this was something that when the gal asked about like, how we would have normally with a young horse, like tied their head around and kind of let them figure it out. This horse probably would have broke himself. Just the way his mind worked, he didn't know where his feet were at. So if I had tried something like that with him, it probably would have ended in a disaster. Yes, I know that that's like, I mean, I done it before. In the past, I had done it. So I know what you're talking about. But now that I've learned, there is so much more to teaching a horse to flex naturally. It is not just our hands. It is not just their mouth. So in regards to like tying their head back, you're getting their mouth. That's it. But when I ride him, I am able to use my whole body, my sit bones, my legs, my shoulders, my elbows. I'm getting that flexion from him through myself that he would not be able to process if it was just like tie his head around and let him kind of bump into it. Like I said, I get it. I've done it before, but this horse processes things differently. And I think by being on his back and being able to use myself and my energy, I was able to teach him to come around so softly. I mean, you just go like this with him now. I mean, it's like a fingertip and he just comes around. He was a difficult, difficult horse to be around. In his pen, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. When you had him out, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And now, I mean, I look back and I can't believe he's mine. I mean, that's how excited I am for him. Like, I'm excited that this horse is in my life, but I would not be if it hadn't been for the coaches, because they were able to get on a Zoom with me, watch exactly our interaction from the ground, not on his back. It started with him on the ground, and they were able to help me see what he was doing, see what I was doing, and give me specific coaching. And then once we flipped that switch, everything just kind of fell into place. But had it not been for the coaches, I would still be hitting my head against a wall and I would not be on him. And now he is getting the pattern where he is like hustling to his spot and he knows what to do. And when this colt shuts it down, I mean, his nose goes, he is so relaxed. He's not nervous. He's not worried about me pulling on him or snatching him. But there's just so much more to having the coaches, especially when you've got one that was as fractious and cuckoo as he was.
Absolutely. And like you've done beautiful work with him. I love seeing you sent me a slow work video the other day, and just seeing the progress has been absolutely beautiful. And he
Oh,
is
thank you.
super soft and smooth. And I want to, you've knocked it out of the park. You've done amazing with him.
Oh, thank you.
And so I'm excited to see what y'all do in your future together.
Well, thank you very much. I am excited for it too. And like I said, I wouldn't have said that a year ago. And I'm not exaggerating, you guys. Like all of you on here that don't know Ace, he was dangerous. He was dangerous to be around because he had no regard for where he was, where I was. He would mow you over. And now, I mean, he follows me around and I'm just like, I like you now. I actually like you. Like I am excited to go out and ride him. And I never thought I would say that about him.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I'm so happy for you, Julie. All right. Do we have any more questions? If not, we can probably hop off, and I hope to see y'all in classes. Nothing. Not
All right,
seeing
everybody, before we
anything.
go, I just want to say real quick, if you are curious, like, how do I get in there? How do I get to do what they're doing? How do I get to start my filly or my colt like Brooke? Like, where do I start? What do I do? So I want you all to text START to 940-291-9090. One of the coaches can put it in the chat right now. Also, we also have what's called Review My Ride. If you have one, you're like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. If you want to hear from Brooke also is a coach for the Review My Ride team. We can have the team will drop Brooke's personal Review My Ride where you can get a review done by Brooke. Where your run will come in, or even your ride. Maybe you're not even running yet, but you're riding your Colt and you're like, I would love what Brooke would think of what I'm doing right now. You can get a review my ride by her. It will get uploaded into our incredible software. You'll see Brooke's little face up in the corner, and she will have all the angles and all the drawings on there, and she'll literally walk you through your review, and then it's sent back to you. It's really, really cool. So get in there. Don't make the same repeated mistakes. Try as a baby, like Kendra says, the first 3 days on the pattern are the most crucial. And Brooke is a powerful testimonial of that.
Absolutely. I think like she'll talk in, when you get into these classes, you get to see even more videos. And one thing she says about prophecy is she asked the guy, did you take her through the patterns? Like, well, I dinked around once. And, when prophecy does have a misstep, it's how he went around that pattern that first time. So it is so important, so critical, those first couple rides on the pattern. And we want to make sure you're doing it right. So please reach out to an advisor, get in with us. Let's get you in class and get you on Kendra's barrel pattern, because it really works. It makes it so easy. And you're going to be cranking out these futurity colts and babies like piece of cake. And everyone's going to be looking at you like, what's going on?
And if you want to talk to Brooke personally, text that number. I want to talk to Brooke. And she will give you a call. I don't know when, maybe not tonight, but I know she will. I know she'll give you a call and help you, guide you through the next steps. So don't miss out. We're all here to help. So well done, Brooke.
Thank you. I love y'all. And please message the hotline, and I hope to see y'all in class. Bye.